Ever wonder why championship fights are only 12 instead of 15 rounds? Or why fighters have to go to a neutral corner after a knockdown? The sweet science didn't become safer overnight, folks. It took blood, sweat, and sometimes tragedy to shape the rules we know today. From ear-biting chaos to fights that ended in heartbreak, these 5 legendary bouts literally changed boxing forever. Let's count down the matches that rewrote the rulebook. Number 5. Tyson vs. Holyfield, the Bite Fight, June 28, 1997. Picture this. It's a hot Vegas night at the MGM Grand. The baddest man on the planet is about to face the real deal in a rematch for the ages. What happened next? Well, let's just say Iron Mike decided to sample some ear cuisine. This was revenge time for Tyson. 7 months earlier, Holyfield had shocked everyone by stopping Mike in the 11th round. Tyson came in as the favorite for the rematch, but things went sideways fast. After round 2, Tyson was complaining about headbutts. Referee Mills Lane ruled them accidental. Mike wasn't buying it. "This is my career. I can't continue getting butted like that. I got children to raise." Then came round 3, the moment that made every boxing fan's jaw drop. Tyson came out without his mouthpiece. Lane sent him back to get it, and then chomp. Mike bit a chunk out of Evander's right ear and spit it onto the canvas. Holyfield jumped around in pain, blood streaming down, and the crowd went ballistic. But wait, it gets crazier. After a 2-point deduction, they let the fight continue, and Tyson bit the other ear. That's when Lane disqualified Iron Mike. First DQ in over 50 years of championship boxing. The Nevada State Athletic Commission went into overdrive. Their rules about biting were actually vague. Can you believe that? So they rewrote the book, making it crystal clear. Any biting meant automatic disqualification, no questions asked. Massive fines, immediate license suspension, and a long road back to redemption. But the biggest change? They revolutionized how they handle all fouls. Referees got way more power to immediately stop fights for intentional dirty tactics. No more warnings for egregious stuff. Cross the line, you're done. They upgraded instant replay systems to catch things refs might miss in real time. Boxing commissions worldwide followed Nevada's lead. Within months, every major organization had updated their rulebooks with specific language about biting and severe intentional fouls. The message was clear. Boxing's a tough sport, but it's not a street fight. Fun fact, years later, Tyson and Holyfield became buddies and launched cannabis edibles shaped like bitten ears. Only in America, folks. Number 4. Jack Dempsey vs. Luis Angel Firpo. The Wild Bull meets the Manassa Mauler. September 14, 1923. Talk about a slugfest that literally sent a champion flying. This wasn't just a fight, it was pure pandemonium at the Polo Grounds in New York. 2 rounds of absolute mayhem that changed boxing forever. Luis Angel Firpo, the Wild Bull of the Pampas, was the first Latin American to challenge the heavyweight title. Standing 6'3" and weighing 216 pounds, this Argentine powerhouse was no joke. Jack Dempsey, the defending champ, was giving away height and weight, but had dynamite in both hands. Round 1 was insanity. Dempsey dropped Firpo 7 times. 7. But here's where it gets wild. Firpo got up from the 7th knockdown and unleashed a right hand that sent Dempsey through the ropes and into the press row. The heavyweight champion of the world was literally sitting on reporters' typewriters. The journalists pushed Dempsey back into the ring. Technically illegal, but who's counting? And he survived the round. In round 2, Dempsey came out like a man possessed and knocked Firpo out cold. But here's the problem. Dempsey was allowed to stand right over Firpo after each knockdown, ready to knock him the second he got up. No neutral corner, no break, just pure violence, like a shark circling wounded prey. 2 months later, the New York State Athletic Commission had an emergency meeting. The result? The neutral corner rule was born, completely changing how boxing works. After you knock someone down, you can't hover over them like a vulture anymore. You gotta hustle to the farthest neutral corner, and the ref won't even start counting until you get there. This gave downed fighters precious extra seconds to clear their heads. Think about how huge this was. Before this rule, boxing was basically legalized assault. The neutral corner rule spread like wildfire through boxing commissions worldwide. It fundamentally changed the sport's dynamics, adding strategy and making knockdowns moments of recovery rather than setups for more punishment. The irony? This rule came back to haunt Dempsey 4 years later in the famous long count fight against Jean Tenay. Dempsey knocked Tenay down but forgot his own rule, standing over him instead of going to the neutral corner. Those extra seconds let Tenay recover and win. Talk about karma. Number 3. Max Baer vs. Frankie Campbell, a tragedy in San Francisco, August 25, 1930. This one's tough to talk about, folks. What started as a Pacific Coast Championship bout at Recreation Park turned into one of boxing's darkest nights. And if you've seen Cinderella Man, forget everything you think you know about Max Baer. Hollywood got it dead wrong. Frankie Campbell was a tough Italian-American fighter from San Francisco with a 33-3 record. Max Baer, a 21-year-old Jewish kid from Livermore with sledgehammers for fists. The California State Athletic Commissioner gave both fighters clear instructions: keep fighting as long as the other man is on his feet. Those words would haunt everyone involved. Round 2 changed everything. Campbell dropped Baer with a body shot, but the ref ruled it a slip. While Campbell turned away, Baer got up and launched a massive right to the side of Campbell's head. Campbell told his corner, "Something feels like it broke in my head." But he had warrior's heart. He came out swinging in rounds 3 and 4, actually winning both. By round 5, though, the damage was too much. Baer's barrage dropped Campbell for good. For over an hour, they worked on Campbell in the ring while 15,000 fans watched in horror. The next morning, with his pregnant wife Elsie by his side, Frankie Campbell died. He was just 26 years old. The aftermath was devastating. Baer was arrested for manslaughter, later acquitted, and lost 4 of his next 6 fights, plagued by nightmares. The truth? Baer was broken by Campbell's death. He quietly paid for Campbell's kids' education and supported his widow. California threw out that deadly keep fighting as long as he's standing mentality overnight. The new philosophy? A referee's job is to protect fighters, period. The standing 8 count became a game changer. Even if a fighter was on his feet but clearly hurt, the ref could step in and give him 8 seconds to show he could continue. They revolutionized pre-fight medicals too. Before Campbell's death, the exam was basically, can you see? Can you hear? Good to go. After, they started examining everything: previous knockouts, recent fights, signs of accumulated damage. Referee training programs were overhauled nationwide. And Max Baer? He became heavyweight champion in 1934, but was never the same killer in the ring. Hollywood portrayed him as a villain who enjoyed killing Campbell. The truth? Baer was devastated for life. Number 2, Benny Peret vs. Emil Griffith III, the fight that shocked America, March 24, 1962. Madison Square Garden, national television, ABC's Fight of the Week. What millions of Americans saw that night would change boxing forever. This wasn't just a strategy, it was a tragedy broadcast live into living rooms across America. The bad blood between Benny Kid Peret and Emil Griffith was real, and it was ugly. They'd already fought twice, splitting the victories. But at the weigh-in for fight number 3, Peret crossed a line. He called Griffith maricon, a Spanish slur for homosexual. In 1962, that was fighting words, especially for Griffith, who worked as a milliner, hat designer, and was sensitive about his masculinity. Griffith wanted to fight right there at the scales. His trainer Gil Clancy told him, "Save it for tonight." Bad advice? You be the judge. The fight was brutal from the start. In round 6, Peret almost stopped Griffith with a vicious combination. Clancy, seeing his fighter hurt, gave Griffith new instructions. When you get him in the corner, keep punching until he holds you or the referee breaks you. Round 12 started calmly. Announcer Don Dunphy even called it probably the tamest round of the entire fight. Then Griffith trapped Peret in the corner and unleashed hell. 29 unanswered punches. Peret's head bounced between the ropes like a speed bag while referee Ruby Goldstein seemed frozen in time. When Goldstein finally stopped it, Peret slid down the ropes like a rag doll. He never regained consciousness. 10 days later, on April 3, 1962, Benny Peret died from massive brain hemorrhaging. He left behind a pregnant wife and a 2-year-old son. The image of Peret, helpless in that corner, sparked nationwide outrage. Newspapers called for boxing to be banned. Politicians demanded investigations. Ruby Goldstein never refereed another fight. The image of Peret trapped in that corner sparked a national crisis for boxing. This wasn't some grainy footage from the 20s. This was live, on TV, in American living rooms. Kids saw it. Families saw it, and everyone was horrified. The changes came fast and furious. First, ref Ruby Goldstein never worked another fight, not because he was officially banned, but because no commission would hire him. The message to every ref in America was clear: you wait too long to stop a fight, your career is over. But the real revolution was in referee training. Before Peret's death, refs were basically told to let fighters work things out. After, they completely rewrote the book. Refs were retrained to jump in the moment a fighter couldn't intelligently defend himself. Not when he was unconscious, not when he was falling, but the second he stopped fighting back effectively. The 3 knockdown rule gained serious traction after this fight. The idea was simple. If you got dropped 3 times in one round, the fight's over, no questions asked. It didn't matter if you jumped up each time feeling fresh as a daisy. 3 knockdowns meant your brain had taken enough trauma for one night. Medical protocols got a complete overhaul too. Post-fight suspensions became mandatory after any knockout. Ring doctors were given way more authority. If they didn't like what they saw, they could stop a fight between rounds. No more warrior culture overruling medical judgment. The biggest change was cultural. Boxing finally admitted that protecting fighters was more important than entertaining bloodthirsty crowds. The old-timers grumble about the sport going soft, but most people recognized these changes were long overdue. And Emil Griffith? He carried the guilt for 40 years, which tells you everything about the human cost of that night. Number 1. Ray Mancini vs. Duk-Koo Kim, the fight that changed everything, November 13th, 1982. This is it, folks, the big one. The fight that fundamentally transformed professional boxing. When Ray Boom Boom Mancini met South Korean's Duk-Koo Kim at Caesar's Palace, nobody could have predicted this bout would reshape the sport forever. Mancini was defending his WBA lightweight title, a young champion from Youngstown carrying his father's legacy. Duk-Koo Kim, a tough Korean fighter most Americans had never heard of, but he came with a warrior spirit. After leaving Seoul, Kim had written "Live or Die" on his hotel lampshade. His mother would later say he had a premonition. The fight was an absolute war. These lightweights stood toe-to-toe, trading bombs like heavyweights. Kim hurt Mancini badly, split his ear, puffed up his eye, and swelled his hand. Mancini later admitted he thought about quitting, but he didn't. In round 14, Mancini caught Kim with a right hand that sent him stumbling backwards. Kim went down, his head bounced off the canvas. He tried to get up, made it to one knee, but referee Richard Green waved it off. TKO for Mancini. But something was wrong. Kim collapsed in his corner and was rushed to Desert Springs Hospital. Emergency brain surgery revealed a subdermal hematoma. 5 days later, with his heartbroken mother by his side, Kim died. He was 23 years old. The tragedy didn't end there. Kim's mother, consumed by grief, took her own life 4 months later. Referee Richard Green committed suicide 4 months after that. 3 lives lost from one fight. Less than a month later, on December 9th, 1982, the WBC dropped a bombshell. Championship fights would be cut from 15 to 12 rounds. Studies showed most ring fatalities happened in rounds 13 through 15 when exhausted fighters were running on pure heart, taking tremendous punishment with compromised defenses. The other organizations resisted at first, but by 1987, everyone fell in line. Weight-cutting regulations got serious attention. Dehydration made fighters more vulnerable to brain injury. The 45 to 60-day suspension after any knockout became universal. Standing 8 counts went from optional to mandatory. Pre-fight medicals became incredibly thorough. Ring physicians got supreme authority. Today, every championship fight you watch is 12 rounds because of what happened to Duk-Koo Kim. His sacrifice literally rewrote the rules of boxing forever. And there you have it, 5 fights that literally rewrote the boxing rulebook. From Tyson's dental work on Holyfield to the tragedy of Duk-Koo Kim, these moments shaped the sport we love today. Every safety rule has a story behind it, and usually it's written in blood and tears. But that's boxing, folks, a sport that's evolved through triumph and tragedy to become safer while keeping that warrior spirit alive. Think we missed any game-changing fights? Drop them in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this countdown, hit that subscribe button harder than Dempsey hit Furpo. Until next time, keep your punches clean and your guard up.